Hello everyone, welcome back. In our previous videos, we've been discussing about functions in C++ programming. So on today's episode, we'll be writing a C++ function to calculate the average of three scores. So as usual, we start by our startup line. We input hashtag include IOString. Okay, so hashtag include IOString. Then we move to the next line using namespace std. I'm sure by now we are all familiar with this expression, using namespace for these functions. S std simple. And for next function, today's topic is about function to calculate average of three scores. So that's what we input here. So we input void for slashes. Then we input function to calculate average of three scores. Into our next line, we input double calculate average. So input double calculate average open close bracket. Inside the bracket we input double score 1, comma, double score 2, then double score 3. Since we are finding the average of three scores, that's the end of the bracket. Move to our next line, and here we open a curly bracket. Open a curly bracket, and in here we input double average semicolon. Then our next input we input average equal to open bracket, input score 1 plus score 2 plus score 3. After this, we divide it by the backslash by 3, because we are finding the average of three scores. After adding all this, the score 1, score 2, score 3, we divide it all by 3. Then we input the curly brackets. Now we move to our next line. Input return average. So this is to give us what to see next, the return of the average. So after adding everything divided by 3, that should be the return average. Now we move to our next line. So that's the end for this part of the caliber calculator. We move to our next line and we input int main, that's the int main, open and close brackets. Enter to our next line, we open another curly bracket. In here we input double s1 comma s2 s3, that's in score 1, score 2, score 3. We input a semicolon. Move to our next line and here we input cout 4 spaces. We input enter 3 scores. Move to our next line. We enter cin backspaces. Input s1 backspaces, s2 backspaces, s3, end with a semicolon. We move to our next line. Input cout 4 spaces. Input average score equal to next line. Calculate average. So open and close brackets. Input s1 comma s2 s3, close the brackets. Continue with the forward space. Then input end L semicolon. Move to our next line and we input return 0. That's the end of the function. Semicolon. Now, after inputting everything, we move on to the compile and run. And we run the function. So we run, and here is running. This pop-up comes in. So here they say enter 3 scores. So we enter in 3 scores. So we input maybe 80, 90, and a 70. So after inputting these 3 scores, you push enter. So now start the calculation, and they've written at the down here average score is equal to 80. So we entered 3 scores, which was 80, 90, 70. And average out of these 3 scores is 80. So that's the function, that's the result. We press any key to continue. So if you watch it, after we compiled and run it, there's no errors, no warnings, output, file name, everything was intact. So This is the fraction. Thank you. See you in the next video.